people don't know, and what I think you probably have been as horrified as I have, is to watch some of those hearings. People, they've been gloating, these state legislators, these white legislators have been gloating about how they're destroying black political power. In one legislature, they literally, there's a video that got caught out on social media where you could see them laughing and clapping because one of their members walks in saying, "We did it," wearing a Trump flag. That's how bad this stuff is.
Barbara, let me ask you a question. I was the national field director for the Rainbow Coalition when my father
Yes.
ran for president in 1988 until my service in the Congress of the United States beginning in 1995. And we had regular training for all of our nonviolent activities. We knew just about everybody who was showing up at the marches because should anything go left or go right, we wanted to follow the protocols, including but not limited to having met with the authorities, including having lawyers ready to bail us out in the event that we were arrested for our activity.
Yes.
One of the distinctions I've been making on the program in the last week about the No Kings March, about the Alabama March, and now I know we will talk about the activity that's going to be taking place that you're helping organize in Mississippi.
Yes.
Is there's always confrontation. John Lewis, James Bevel, as a result of the shooting of Jimmy Lee Jackson, they fully expected confrontation on the other side of the Edmund Pettus Bridge. In fact, they said something like, "The world is watching." When the students on February 1st, 1960 went to the lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina,
Yes.
they fully expected confrontation. They put on their Sunday's finest, their suits and their ties. They were spit upon. They were disrespected. They threw food at them. They would not serve them. They escorted them out. Some of them were punched in the face, but they expected confrontation, and the response was nonviolent. The Freedom Riders, they knew blacks and whites and Jews and Christians and Muslims riding on those buses in the South, they were going to be nonviolent in their response, but their buses were set on fire and they were beaten because
Yes.
they expected confrontation. Barbara, the question has been presented to us, why are our marches today not working? And my question to you, when are we going to confront the evil itself for the dramatic effect that is created as a result of the confrontation? Barbara.
Well, check this out. There actually was a permit rendered in Alabama for May 16th for the during the All Roads Lead to the South for a counter protest of whites who were mad that blacks had the nerve to think they should have political power. There actually was a permit that they sought and got to it, and we had to set aside a whole area for their counter protests. It didn't happen. And it didn't happen because we're not sure why. They just didn't show up. I think they might have gotten a little discouraged when they heard it was going to be 6,000 people. They probably thought we might get 100 out there.
That's enough to run the Klan out of town. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More with Barbara online on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Deshauna Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Wally drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine on Tenacious Tuesday right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Barbara currently serves as co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Votes Matters convenings, and the Voting Rights Alliance. She was the head of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law from February 1989 until June 2015 and holds the honorific title of President Emeritus. Attorney Barbara Arnwine, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and to your show, On the Grind.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, Barbara, I want to go back to this point that we were having before the break about confrontation. I get it. 10 Klansmen didn't show up and with their
No, no,
pickups.
no, 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 no. Whatever they said they were gonna have a little 100 something, but they didn't show up. But
Yeah,
you know what? But
yeah.
you know what the other big difference is?
Yes, ma'am.
Remember that in the '60s, nationwide, you only had eight. I think it was 7 to 8 black Congress people, for example. Uh, on Saturday, you had 22 congressional members, including Senator Cory Booker, who showed up,
Mm,
and they brought all that security.
mm,
They brought, you had all that federal protection. I mean, in fact, I'm going to tell you, I've been at several rallies. I've been at several events where presidents have spoken. This was the tightest security I've ever seen in my life.
mm.
They had that big shield for people to speak behind. They had riot police. They had every kind of person there. All the feds were there, taking care and watching over everything with, eagle eyes. That could not happen in the '60s. That was impossible. We didn't have the representation. We would have had only 8 if we got them all in the same location. Um, this that just shows you why they want to get rid of our political power, because they don't like that. They want to be able to beat us senseless. They want to be able to attack us. And they don't want there to be a shield of protection. That's why they're trying to get rid of it. And so that's a big change. They want to take us back to the days of only 7 or 8 or 0 would make them happy. So I just think, that's one of the big things I really observed was different,
I
was
want to say
that
that
presence.
I did want to say that, good for the members of Congress who were there and good for the
22.
speakers.
Thank you.
I'm saying, Barbara, that's great, but I'm saying for the 6,000 people or more who came to protest,
Yes.
marches themselves in the past there was the expectation that we would be confronting the evil, not those who've been given a alternative location for counter protesting, but to confront the evil itself. There was
Yes.
a risk that we were going to go to jail. It was a risk that we were going to get our skulls cracked, like the late John
Mhm.
Lewis. There was a risk. And the drama from that became so pronounced that when John Lewis got hit and got hurt and those dogs were sicked on those marchers, that Lyndon Johnson then, because the country and the world were watching that behavior, that he had to address the Congress of the United States and offer a remedy to the way American citizens and veterans and others were being treated in that context. I'm talking about the dramatic effect, not of a bunch of us showed up with security and, hey, we are the big willies of the march.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay,
See,
I'm just making the
that's
distinction.
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's a different time and era, because May Day came and there were demonstrations of labor unions all over this country and nobody got beat up and stuff. It's a different era. That doesn't mean there isn't violence every darn day. You don't get the feeds I do of all the families whose children are being killed by police still.
Mhm.
We got the drama going on, the
I'm
violence,
getting
the
it.
killing, and
Including the young man
the
who was dismembered,
sacrifices
the young
happening.
man who was dismembered in Alabama, where there needs to be some justice in
Right.
that
And
particular.
that has not, but I'm just saying the era is different. You have more social, you have more media outlets, you have more opportunity for people to, watch stuff differently. You don't only have, Walter Cronkite and a few others. It's a different era. And the era is different. And I think that what people are trying to do is to rise to the best of their ability. And that doesn't mean you won't get beaten. It just means that because people know the cameras are everywhere, because people are aware that the videotaping, like we saw, they couldn't get away with killing Renee Good. They couldn't get away with killing Alice Pretty because people had their phones out, because that is the reality. The situation is not parallel. It's not parallel. It's not diametrically
I
different,
accept
but
that.
it's not parallel.
I accept that, but I can also share with you that the drama of Justin Pearson cussing out that state police officer was a shot heard around the world.
Right.
On the same
and
issue.
and and my
On,
brother and my
on the same
brother who testified in Louisiana with
on
the
the
red
same issue.
cap
On the
and
same
told
issue.
them who they were. That
That's
was
correct.
heard across the world.
And that's what I mean by the confrontation. That's
Yes,
but we're not in disagreement. You know me. I'm with you. In
right.
fact,
And I'm just telling you, there's plenty of confrontation because think about it. What you probably haven't seen is the video
not the
of
word.
California, when the California state legislature met,
Mm,
and to because Justin Jones went to California, and California had a whole hearing, a whole session where they voted to condemn the Supreme Court's KBLA case, and they voted to call on all these other states to do what they could do. And you should have heard some of the evil that
mm,
came out of the mouths of some of those folks. So confrontation's happening. When you look at them dragging poor Deanna Reed by
mm,
her hair out of the legislature in Alabama, that was confrontation. When you look at what they did to the people calling Randall Gaines, who's a black man attorney, the president of the Democratic Party of Louisiana, called him, howling at him with their billy clubs. Shut up, boy. Come
mm,
on now. It
mhm.
has not been some little people just showing up and looking peaceful and dressed up. It's been ugly as hell.
That's what I'm
And
talking about.
people have
And that's
been, and that's confrontation. All I'm saying is
that's
the
what-
confrontation you want is happening.
okay. That's all I'm saying. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not violent. I believe in
No, no,
nonviolence.
no, no, no. But you're saying you want to make sure it's real.
I want to make sure that the story is told beyond
Yes.
the speeches and the marches,
Right.
because, when those African American parishioners exited the church in Marion, Alabama, after
Hmm.
a peaceful
They killed
prayer
Jimmy.
meeting where Jimmy Lee Jackson was killed, when they walked out, there were 200 state police officers
Right.
to meet them when they walked out
Exactly.
and beat them and that crowd half to death. And the
Right.
same 200 state police officers and more, 2 weeks later, were on the other side of the Edmund Pettus Bridge waiting for part two. And so we're saying the
And
same thing. I'm just simply saying that
well,
when,
but now
when the
I
world
think we're
saw the
saying
brutality,
one
Barbara,
thing we're saying different is
okay,
that I think that we should be grateful to your dad, to Martin Luther King, to John Lewis, and everybody else who went through hell during that time. We should be grateful to them because they made it so that we could do what we do today in the way that we do it today without them having to murder all of us. That you don't have to have, all of that happening at the same time. That's because their sacrifice, that blood that they put in the ground, covered us.
mm,
If you want to put it that way, it's
mm,
covered us.
mhm,
And that is their victory. That is their success. That
mhm,
is what we should be grateful to them for because their sacrifice had real meaning.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Well, we're poking the bear.
Okay.
We're
Uh,
poking the bear. There's no doubt about the fact that we are poking the bear, and there is no doubt about it that Barbara Arnwine and the Transformative Justice Coalition is on the ground. Now, I told all of you all who could hear my voice last week, whether you are on the 10 or the 118, the 110 or the 405, listen, we may not be able to make it all the way to Alabama while Barbara Arnwine and these organizations, the American Federation of Teachers, labor unions, and others, are there fighting for our rights. But we can be the wind beneath her wings and their wings in this fight, because she comes right back here to KBLA and she reports to us exactly what's happening on the ground. With that said, Barbara, how can we support your amazing work at the Transformative Justice Coalition?
you can go to, thank you so much. And thanks for your show. Thank you for the focus and thanks for asking those hard questions. Everyone, you can go to tjcoalition.org. TJcoalition.org. .org and make a contribution. Let us do what we did on Saturday. Gathering people, educating people, making sure that people have been turning out. Folks, because of what's happening on the ground, the largest Black voter turnout has been happening in this country during these primaries. Instead of being depressed and running away, Black folks are running to those polls. They're saying, okay, you try to take my vote, let me show you what my vote looks like. So because of that, when we were there on Saturday, we had all our young people there who we trained. We had lots of them, almost a score of them. People do contribute to the Transformative Justice Coalition. Help us to do this work because we're all about winning. We're not about just, posturing and posing and all that stuff. We're about winning. So come with us.
And I'm a witness.
Make a contribution.
I'm a witness to the fact that if you do get in trouble, Barbara Arnwine and her organization will
I've been arrested enough.
They'll bail you out. Hey, Barbara, let me ask you a question. You sent me a flyer about a day of action in Mississippi. Share with us what's happening.
Oh, tomorrow, we're very blessed that the people of Mississippi have decided that they ain't going to take it because the governor has been colluding with the Supreme Court and doing everything that he can. And they want to get rid of Benny Thompson's district. Can you believe me? You served with him.
I sure did.
You know who he is.
And he has done an extraordinary job on Homeland Security, protecting the American people. Barbara?
Yes, and they want to get rid of his district. So they announced that they were going to have this session, a special session, but then instead they went behind, they did their little collusive work and got the Supreme Court to get rid of some of the lower level state districts, majority Black districts, and they postponed their hearing because everybody in the world was going crazy. Because what people miss is that in order to have this vote, they decided to do it at the old slave-built segregationist museum where their legislature used to sit. And they wanted to go back there to make the point of that they were returning, that the South was rising again. They wanted to go back there to have that vote. And people got a wind of it. People have been shaming them, and it worked. So they are not going to have that vote. They're going to do it in their new modern whatever capital instead at some point in the future. But they made it very clear that they would do it at least in 2027 so they can affect the 2028 elections.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Tenacious Tuesday, and we are on the grind with attorney Barbara Arnwine, the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition. More we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump says the U.S. was close to attacking Iran, but he put the strike on hold after Middle Eastern leaders asked for more time to negotiate.
The ships are all loaded. They're loaded to the brim, and we're all set to start.
Trump adds a deal could be close. The NAACP is launching an out-of-bounds campaign urging Black athletes, fans, and donors to boycott major college athletic programs in some southern states over voting rights. The campaign targets schools in states like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, and Florida following a Supreme Court ruling the NAACP says weakens Black voting representation. And Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice is in custody in Texas after violating probation in his high-speed crash case. Court records say Rice tested positive for THC and must now serve a previously ordered 30-day jail sentence. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The laughs keep coming when Bert Kreischer hits Fantasy Springs Resort Casino May 22nd. Big energy, big comedy, one wild night. Get tickets now at FantasySpringsResort.com. That's FantasySpringsResort.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
When the Oklahoma City Thunder swept the Lakers in the second round of the NBA playoffs, there was nobody on the Lakers roster who came close to the talent level of Victor Wembanyama. OKC found out Monday night that they have a serious upgrade in competition in the Western Conference Finals. Wembanyama had a dominating performance in Game 1 for the San Antonio Spurs, 41 points, 24 rebounds, and 3 block shots. The numbers added up to a 122-115 victory for the Spurs in double overtime in Oklahoma City. At age 22, Wembanyama is the youngest player in NBA history to have at least 40 points and 20 rebounds in a playoff game. OKC has a lot of work to do to figure out how to handle this rising superstar. Game 2 is Wednesday night in Oklahoma City. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals is tonight, Cleveland at New York, 5 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa, whoa.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to number 1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. The only candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for State Superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee. Not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Ready to order? Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it!
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, The Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine, who was born in Southern California. Barbara Arnwine is a graduate of Scripps College and Duke University School of Law. Barbara's doing some of the most extraordinary work that history is actually going to record. The work that she is doing during this period where all roads point to the end of Second Reconstruction and the beginning of Jim Crow 2.0, but no one is working harder to extend Second Reconstruction harder than Barbara Arnwine. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you for your great intellectual prowess that you bring to your show. Thanks for having me on.
I bring only a fraction of that which you offer every single week, and I am so grateful for your contribution. Barbara, let me ask you this question. A number of our organizations, the NAACP and others, are calling for African-American athletes to
Out of bounds
or reconsider the Southern states and the Southern state schools. Barbara, please share with us, one, your thoughts, and number two, what you think we should do.
I think that's a really good start. I think we need some really powerful financial boycotts that would put more pressure on these states. But I do think that athletes should not go play for these public state institutions and give them all your best while they're stomping on and killing your people. No. Should not do that. But I also think that we need to bring some financial pain to these states and of course the athletes, the schools will lose money. There's no doubt about that. And that will be a source of financial pain. But I'm talking about the billions and millions of dollars, a target level boycotts we need to be looking at having in these states. And remember, we boycotted South Carolina, or let's say we economically fasted them for decades until they took down that stupid racist Confederate flag. So I just think there's some that we got to fight fire with fire. And that it's not appropriate just to say that we got the moral high ground, which we do have, but we also got to make it a stick and make it pay. Can I say two things I forgot to say at the top of the show?
Barbara, this
And
time
I'm
is
so embarrassed. Happy Malcolm X Day.
Amen.
I mean, this is Malcolm X's 101. It would have been his 101 birthday. Happy heavenly birthday, Malcolm X. Thank you for everything you did, because you even went to Selma. Thank you for everything you've ever done to really advance our people and make us smarter, wiser, and more, and blacker and proud of it.
A necessary voice that we need, miss at
and
this
remember,
hour in our history. No doubt about it, Barbara.
and
Wonderful.
remember, he said the ballot or the what? The bullet. He said,
Ballot
give us the ballot or suffer consequences. I mean, there we got to remember his voice. Also, I forgot to mention that tonight, there's going to be a PBS special on W.E.B. Du Bois. And so be sure, because it's his birthday, I believe. It's another birthday tribute. Um, and I want people to watch that because you really need to know about this man if you never ever known. And the third thing I can't believe I forgot to say is black folks, everybody. No matter what race you are, everyone, call your people right now and tell them that it's time to vote in these 5 states. Have primaries.
Barbara is encouraging us to vote in the primary elections where you can hear our voice around the country. We have a little intermittent signal problem, but Barbara is spot on. Today is election day in 5 different states. Barbara, those states, how important are they, and what is the message takeaway if Democrats emerge successful tonight?
Tell them to Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Oregon all have elections today, all have primary elections. What's important is to just make sure your voice is heard. Make sure that people know that you vote, because when you vote, you scare the heck out of people. They love it when you sleep. They love it when you say, "Oh, it doesn't make any difference." They love that because then they can steal your power.
Barbara, are there any races that you're looking at particularly tonight that we should look as a bellwether, some sense of what the American people are feeling? I'm sure there'll be a lot of people handicapping tonight on the TV shows. In fact, I wish Barbara Arnwine were on CNN or MSNBC or some of these shows, by the way, producers who are listening. Barbara, is there anything that you're looking for towards hearing tonight?
Yes,
on results?
I'm very interested in Alabama. I'm very interested in Georgia. In particular, I think those 2 states are going to be very key because that's where they've done everything they can to depress the black vote. And I'm very curious to see how people turn up and turn out because it's critical that we're not silent in these times and that people hear from us. And so it's going to be interesting to see. You see, one of the problems that they got that nobody talks about is you know how they split the Memphis district into 3, and and in good old Mississippi, we're almost 40% and probably are more than 40% of the population. In some respects, when they split these and they crack, as it's called, when they crack these districts, which is evil, when they do that, it actually means that if we organize appropriately, we can cause all kind of heck that nobody ever thought. And there's certain levels of redistricting that they can't even reach. And don't forget, everybody, all of these Supreme Court actions has no impact on the Senate elections. So I want everyone to understand that we can make a difference, but only if we vote.
That's really interesting because I think that our future, quite frankly, to your point about these congressional seats not impacting the statewide races like U.S. Senate, that the future of African Americans in the short term during this Jim Crow 2.0 could very well be in the United States Senate. Because, for example,
isn't that interesting?
It's really interesting that blacks across multiple districts that currently exist can vote for a statewide office holder.
You got it.
Leanna Stratton in Illinois, even though they may not be able to vote for a congressman or have an equal opportunity of electing a congressman at the level of government just under the United States Senate. That's going to be deeply troubling. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Barbara Arnwine when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk, but we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for healthcare, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelenos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community Health.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to #1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. The only candidate for state superintendent of public instruction.
Backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for state superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a data analyst.
Hey, what model did you use for these quarterly projections?
Astrology. If Mercury's in retrograde, sales tank. If Venus is rising, we crush Q4.
You built our revenue forecast off horoscopes?
Yeah, the Zodiac never lies.
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Faye Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at WootenCenter.org. That's WootenCenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. This is our final segment on Tenacious Tuesday. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. Barbara is the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition and is internationally renowned for her contributions on critical justice issues. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Good to be here.
Barbara, I do have a question for you. I had a guest on earlier in the week who talked about, and the example you used in the last segment was about how Memphis is being divided into 3 districts, essentially dividing the Black community, the concentration of Black people in the state of Tennessee, into 3 different congressional districts, making it very difficult for an African American to win. But it doesn't necessarily make it difficult for a Democrat to win. And so our show was about the Blue Dog Democrats, where there are enough African Americans between liberal whites in a congressional district and conservative whites in a congressional district that if Blacks go with the liberals, the liberal congressman, the Stephen Cohen, can come to the Congress of the United States potentially in that framework. But those Democrats tend to be what they call blue dog conservative Democrats who don't always vote our interests. Is there any concern in your thinking about the rise of the blue dog Democrats in the Congress in light of how Black people will be apportioned amongst multiple congressional districts and, give or take a few seats here or there, the dynamic that I just shared with you?
It's always a good worry. I think that it's once again an issue of how smart African Americans are with how we vote, how strategic we are with how we vote, what demands we make, and giving anybody our support. I think just like some of the Blue Dog days, some we were talking about the times they are changing and how things aren't parallel. I think that some of the conditions that produce the Blue Dogs will work against them in getting African American support unless they radically change those kind of politics. I also think that it's not impossible to actually see some Blacks possibly elected even, but it's going to take some good work, and it's going to be hard for them. No matter what they do, it's going to be hard for them to still ignore Black political power. And I'm still trying to figure out, based on that Memphis map, if it's not attackable because it's not compact at all. In order to split all those Blacks, they had to draw the little ugliest little thing you ever seen. It looks like what, a cane? It's so ugly. And that so I've been thinking about how in the heck is how is that legal? And so I think that there's some other issues out here that are going to have to be dealt with, because they drew it that way so they could try to make sure that Blacks had no real influence. But that's just isn't consistent with traditional redistricting principles, even if you quote being race neutral. So I think there's some problems still outstanding here.
Barbara, I do have one more question before your word of hope, and we've got about 5 minutes before the top of the hour, so you can divide this question between your word of hope and that. I know you've worked very hard in the reparations space.
Yes.
It seems to me that Donald Trump and his January 6th slush fund has shown us as Democrats that we don't need Congress to establish between the Department of Justice and the Department of Treasury a compensation fund for African Americans on the scale that is the problem, that we've been pushing studies, encouraged to lobby members of Congress to sign on to bills about studies. There are no January 6 people walking around the Hill trying to get people to study their compensation or their package. They just have executive leadership. Is it fair? I'm sorry, let me say, isn't it fair that we as African Americans within the Democratic Party, that we hold Democratic future nominees and presidents accountable to the idea, don't send us to Congress anymore, set up the fund? Barbara?
Tell me about it.
Oh.
Come on now. Tell me about it. I mean, that is brilliant, and it's a well delivered in Cobra. We'll be meeting in DC in late June. I'm going to be on a panel on the 26th to talk about reparations. And you're right, the ground just shifted, didn't it?
They sure did.
And that's a good point because in setting up his little slush fund for his insurrectionist buddies with no, did you guys notice there's no criteria for who can apply for this fund? So you're right. It blows out of the water so many of their arguments, and Democrats get with it. Stop playing the stupid game. Play the smart game. Benefit and take care of your base, and stop. Falling for all this quote. We're going to be so righteous when it's really unrighteous to the people who you depend on. So yes, I mean, reparations has to be back heavily on the schedule.
Barbara, a word of hope.
The hope is that I was so very moved to see all the beautiful young Black folks that showed up at All Roads Lead to the South. Also, I was so moved, everybody. If you're in Montgomery, stay at the Elevation Hotel. It's gorgeous. It is so amazing to see such a high quality, I mean, platinum grade hotel owned by Black folks, owned by the Equal Justice Institute. They have built Wakanda. In that, I'm serious. In that hotel, it is gorgeous. And so that gave me a sense of happiness. And because they built within it all of our culture, all of our beautiful Black culture. You look out the windows when you're dining, and you could see all those incredible Black tributes to Rosa Parks and so many others. I mean, whoa, did they do that thing? It is gorgeous. High quality. So I would recommend that people stay there, but also it just uplifted my spirits because I know what we can do. And we got to know what we can do. And thank you, Brian Stevenson, for showing the world who we really are.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We've been on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. I can't wait to go to Montgomery and see.
You got to. Wait until you see it.
That's got to be amazing. The last time I was there, they had the museum, and they certainly had the tribute, if you will, the commemoration to those of our ancestors who've been lynched, the lynching museum, if you will, and even the incarceration museum, which I found amazing and fascinating. But I'm so grateful to you, Barbara, for being our eyes and ears on the ground for social justice and change. Those of you who want to support Barbara, tjcoalition.org. Go to the website, tjcoalition.org. We need to support her. She is the wind beneath our wings. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Wealthy Wednesdays is tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.